am losing my mind. Fluffiest, softest jumper I own. I can't believe I'm admitting this. This is so bad. I am a monogamous individual. Ooh. Oh, I need to remember to breathe between words. The one and only Sleeve Island. Hello, we are back again for week 4. One thing I realised after the last episode is I keep forgetting to introduce myself and assume it's the same people who know me that keep watching my videos. I don't think that's the case because I had a few people message me last week saying they just found me, so I'm gonna have to come up with my own repeatable little cheesy intro. But hello, my name is Molly Mae. I am a knitter that's providing this content for you. I design a little bit, I test a little bit, but I do a ton of knitting. And now I'm trying to do a ton of YouTube. I'm based in England, just outside of London, grew up in London, and I live here with my, oh I like that little thing that everyone says, I live here with my little dog Mash and my boyfriend Robert. So today's episode is going to be all about the one and only Sleeve Island. So I used to have loads of whips, and in fact in theory I have tons, but a lot of them are in hibernation, so I'm going to be doing a video about probably a frog it or finish it video at some point, maybe in the new year actually. It'd be a good time to get through all my knits. But in terms of live whips, I like to have like 2 on the go, one slightly more complicated and one simple, so that I can always reach for something, but then also things get finished really quickly. Whereas in the past where I had tons of whips and do a little bit on each, I felt you never get a finished object. So that said, I currently have 3 whips, which is slightly more than I normally go for, and it just so happens all 3 of them are jumpers. Well, that bit's not a surprise, mostly what I make is jumpers, but all 3 of them are now on Sleeve Island, and I am losing my mind. I don't normally mind knitting sleeves that much, but 2 out of the 3 require a bit more concentration, and I don't really have a project that's resting my hands and my wrists on the small circumference. So I am also, one of them is taking fucking forever, and so that is also annoying me. So that said, I thought I'd give you an update. I think all 3 of them have either been mentioned or seen in my previous vlogs, but I will talk you through each one, and then I'm going to try and challenge myself to get them all finished and show you them in a future video. Mash is just casually eating her paw. Actually, there was a really cute video. So I do most of my knitting on the sofa in the other room, and it's like a L-shaped sofa. I sit with my legs out and a big quilt over me, and then Mash buries under the covers and lays like against my legs under the covers. You think she can't breathe, but she never comes out for air, so I think she's okay. She's still alive, aren't you, Mishka? There was a really funny video that I took earlier unveiling this little gremlin under the covers, so I will pop it in for you to have a little look. Thank you. I'm getting nice dog slobber ahead of showing you my knits. Oh, one last thing before I show you what I'm making. Ooh, love it when I can get my words out. I've got a little bit of brain fog. I think it was on part of the last episode. I had a bit of a hoarse throat, and that cold has just started coming out entirely. I felt a bit shitty all morning. Nothing serious. I'm drinking, actually I have 3 drinks on my desk. I have coffee for energy, like a vitamin, those dissolvable tablet drinks, vitamins, and I have orange juice for vitamin C. So I'll be fine in a few days, but if I sound a bit weird, that will be why. But yeah, what am I wearing? This is a really old make of mine. This is the Sheer V sweater. I test knitted it for Jessie May. I can't remember what the yarns are. I think the grey is a Drops alpaca that I picked up at the Knitting and Stitching show, and I held it with a mohair which I ordered on Etsy from somewhere in Europe. It was like a cone of mohair in like a pink colour, where you can obviously see it better in the V, and I just mulled it together for the body. I don't think I made any modifications. I made a size 3, which is almost always what I end up making, unless I'm changing the desired fit. And I love this jumper. I find it a little bit hard to style because the bottom's quite baggy. Well, not baggy, but it's quite straight and it's not super cropped. So sometimes I feel like a lot of the things I wear like nip in at the waist, and I wear something high-waisted and it's a bit longer than where my high-waisted thing would fall, but it's not full length. So sometimes I feel like it gives me an odd silhouette. But having said that, I might try tucking it in. I feel like tucking it into like a pencil skirt might work. Something I might try, but it's a really good cozy one to wear at home when you just want to be snuggly. Right, I guess I'll show you what I'm doing. So I thought I'd start with the trickiest one with the least amount of progress. I think I showed you guys this one before when I was on the body. This is the Birch Pullover by Andrea Mowry. That's Drea Renee Knits. All tangled. This is, I'm just a glutton for punishment, really. This is a fingering weight sweater with half fisherman's rib, so that's a purl row and a knit one, purl one, will knit into the stitch underneath row all over the sweater. And I've made it quite long. It's got a bit of positive ease. It's basically really, really hard. It's on 2.75mm needles, but it is going to be amazing when it's done. That's what I keep telling myself. So I'm only on the first sleeve, and this is how much of the sleeve I've done. And it's taking so long. So long. Actually, I'm going to measure it and tell you how long. So let's give that a rough measurement. Okay, slightly longer than I thought. We're at about 7 inches, which is about 18 centimeters. I don't actually know how much longer this needs to be. Based on another jumper I made last time, I made the sleeves, I think I did 14 inches. From the underarm, it was a yoked pattern like this one, plus the ribbing's like 16 inches, so we've probably got another 11 or so to go. Wow. Also, one thing I keep doing is messing up on the decreases, so I don't know how well you can see that, or if you can see that at all, but there is a special way of doing the decreases. I'm just too lazy to keep checking what it is, so I'm just kind of winging it, and a couple of times I've caused a massive ladder that I've had to pick up. I also have one row, but it's only a tiny bit and it's under the arm, which is why I haven't corrected it, where I've got an extra purl stitch instead of having done the half fisherman's rib, but I don't really care at this point. I just want this done so I can wear it. I also really want to see how it's going to be when I block it out, obviously because the ribbing is a bit tighter at the moment. I do think it's going to change quite a lot when I block it, and I say I think, not I know, because I didn't do a swatch. I don't do swatches unless I'm designing, then I do proper swatches, but it's got a lot of stretch, as you can see, so I really do think it's going to open up beautifully. If you haven't seen in my other video, the yarn I used is the Mondine, the Portuguese wool, and it's in a really dark blue, kind of heathered almost looking colour. It's got like a navy and then a much darker blue intertwined, and I just love the colour, and I think I'll wear this loads. I can imagine it like chucked on over jeans, tucked into a little A-line skirt. In my head, I see the photo shoot at a beach, but the closer we get to winter, the more I think that's a bad idea. It's going to be bitterly or cold and windy, so we'll see when I get it finished. But yeah, I think what 2 sleeves that I need to do, like I said, 7 inches done on one, probably 11 inches to go on that, plus 18 from the other, so you're looking 29-30 inches left of sleeve knitting in total. Can I get this done before the end of the month? It's now, no, actually that's a bit ambitious. We're about a week away from the end of the month, and I'm not going to be knitting on this monogamously. Can we get this done, the whole jumper done, by the end of November? Watch this space. If I do it before, I get some kind of reward, which I know it's going to be, yeah, and it's going to be for myself, but that's my first one. I did do a bit of knitting on it last night. I sat watching Rings of Power. I don't know if anyone else is watching that. I've heard very mixed reviews, but I'm really enjoying it. I think I do really like Lord of the Rings. Controversially, I prefer the Hobbit films over the Lord of the Rings films. And I don't know if anyone else agrees with me, but I think they're just a bit more fun and fantasy, and they just satisfy me more. But I like them both. But I'm not a die-hard fan. I'm not super nerdy about it. I haven't actually read the books, which is rare for me. Normally I read the books before I watch any kind of series or film, but yeah, I am enjoying it and would recommend it. It is a bit slower at the beginning, but I don't think everything needs to be fast all the time. I quite enjoyed it, and it's visually very pleasing. So I was knitting watching that last night, and I got a couple of inches done, to be fair. Oh, I need to remember to breathe between words. Okay, let me show you my next whip. So this is another one that you guys have seen before, and last time I was also on the body. I am now on the sleeve. This is the Gib 2 by Molly Mae. So the body is now done. It's a bit creased because it's been in my knitting basket, and I am also on the first sleeve. So this is the sleeve so far. On the other one, I didn't use stitch markers to mark the decreases because it's really obvious where they are. In this stitch pattern, it's a lot less obvious, so I'm using stitch markers to remind me. I have done 2, 4, 6 decreases out of, I think it's 14 or 15, so I still have a way to go. I'll measure this one. I think this one looks slightly longer, but also it's a man's jumper. The sleeve's going to be longer. Rob's taller than me. So we're just shy of 11 inches, which is actually about 27 centimetres to be precise. This one knits up way faster. It's DK weight on, I think I've done the 4mm needles. I am knitting this on smaller needles than Molly Mae recommends, purely because I find her patterns are, I guess, much too tightly knit for me, so I always have to drop down needle size. That's right. Yeah, I guess I knit looser. But I'm so happy with how it's coming along. We've tried it on him, it looks great. The only reason I'm not in a rush to finish this is because it's a Christmas gift. So this is for Robert, my boyfriend, and he requested it, and it's beautiful. It's in Barocco wool. It's really squidgy. The colour is black cherry, and I love it. I actually want to steal this. I feel like I would wear this like a jumper dress, like with a pair of leggings and boots. So might need to do that anyway to avoid the jumper curse, the boyfriend jumper curse. But yeah, like I said, great pattern, really love it. There is another version of the pattern based on women's body measurements, I think with a bit more tailoring. It might be a bit more cropped, so I might look into doing that one for myself at some point, maybe in the same colour. I think I said in the last one that that's really gross and I'd have to make mash a matching one too, but we'll see. This one, like I said, once I get started, it probably won't take me too long. It's just because I know it's for Christmas and we're only in October that I don't really, although I should just get it off my needles and get it done, then I can block it, weave in the ends and put it away. Okay, we're trying to finish both of these two by the end of November. Watch this space. Hold me accountable. I might chuck in, I've got some other video content planned for the few weeks coming up, but I might do a little update at the end of those videos, even though it's not related content, and tell you how I'm getting along. God, I sound terrible. Okay, so sweater number 3 on Sweater Island. Now this one you only saw when it was but a gleam in my eye. This is my birthday jumper. I actually have almost finished this in about 10 days. I've been pretty much monogamously. Oh Jesus! I was watching a podcast the other day and someone said monogamous, and they tripped over it like 10 times, and I said it straight away. I was like, oh, it's not that hard, and I just did it myself. Anyway, I've been knitting on this monogamously. I am a monogamous individual, and I've basically finished. So this is my birthday jumper. As you can see, one sleeve is slightly shorter than the other. I have been on Sleeve Island, and I literally haven't, this is so bad. I've got like a couple of rows left, but I haven't, I can't believe I'm admitting this. I haven't finished the last couple of rows until I had time to film this video so that I could say I was on Sleeve Island for all 3 jumpers, because I genuinely was at the same time. I just haven't had any time or energy to knit. So now I've said that, I'm going to go and finish the last few rows. I'm not going to say too much about this because next week's video is going to be all about making this jumper, the process, a little bit of footage from whilst I was making it, and I'll try it on and show you how I plan on wearing it. I'll just say a couple of things now. The pattern is Paloma by Esparce Tricot. It's a free pattern. The yarn is by Beehive Yarns. I used the Patty Mohair base and the Audrey sock base in the colour Maple. It is the fluffiest, softest jumper I own, and I know I'm going to wear this to death. I'm already planning one in black, which is not going to be as fun to knit, but I know I will wear it to death. But yeah, all I've got literally is like 1 or 2 ribbing rows and then the tubular cast off. So it's near Sleeve Island, but it won't be for much longer. Wait until next week when I film. Well, I'm gonna need to edit all the footage I've done so far, block this, weave in the ends, even though I haven't done that on probably the last 5 things I finished. But I want to with this one's special, and I'll talk about it a bit more, but I'm telling you, this is one of the best things I've ever made. It's so classic and so cozy. Yeah, watch this space. Oh, I should say that I said I normally make a size 3 in pretty much everything. In this one I made a size 1 just because I wanted a different fit to the design. I reduced it, had a lot of positive ease and I only wanted a bit of positive ease, but like I said, I will talk about that in next week's video. That is my 3 live wings. So technically that's all I've got on the needles, even though there's probably like 10-15 things I'm just not working on and haven't been for months. I am dying to cast on a few other bits. So if you watch my autumn makes video, which was episode 2, so not the last one, the one before, you'll see all the things I'm planning to make this autumn. I just want to cast them all on. I have the yarn that I need. I'm bored of the Sleeve Island and I just want to get started. However, if I do that, A, I'm not going to finish these anytime soon, apart from the birthday one, obviously. And B, I will just make a load of jumpers that I'll also get to Sleeve Island, and then I'll have like 10 things that are on Sleeve Island, and that makes no sense whatsoever. So I think I'll have to do like a trade process. So I'll finish my birthday one and one of the others, and then I'll get to cast something on, and when I finish that I'll get to cast something else on. Let's see if I can be disciplined enough to follow that. I doubt it, but I'll try. I'm just looking down at the floor because I dropped them on the floor in front of me and I just need them to be done. I just want to make all the things. Do you get like that? I'm just like, I want to make all the things. And I lose my mind just a little bit. I think I need to grab some water because my voice or some of my nice orange juice. 1 second. So much better. Nothing better than cold orange juice when you're not feeling well. And a warm tea, I guess, but there's something special about cold orange juice. Do you like orange juice with bits or no bits? I love it with bits. Like a bitty orange juice. Anyway. So that's all my whips for now. I haven't got any finished objects this week. Well, I cheated that, right? One of them should be finished, but it's not finished yet, so I'm telling the truth. And I just thought I'd finish up with a couple of recommendations on things that I've been like watching and reading. And actually one of them's a only recommend if you're crazy kind of thing. So books, I finished 2 books recently. So one of them I'm going to start with was the first, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's actually the first Stephen King book I've ever read. I've never read any of his books, which is crazy because I'm an avid reader and obviously everyone's heard of Stephen King, even people that don't read. I read his book Misery. Now, despite the fact that he's clearly very talented and an amazing author, it just made me feel horrible. The things that happen in that book are horrid and I sound so fragile and obviously I'm fine, but basically I was like halfway through the book, maybe 2/3 of the way, and something truly horrible happens, and I went upstairs, I got into bed and I was like, I need to finish the entirety of this book because I need to know how it ends, not because I'm so hooked and I love it and I need to know what happens. I was like, I need something happy to happen to this character that's just gone through something really awful, and it gets progressively worse. I mean, the ending is okay, I'm not going to tell you anything about what happened or what it is, but if you like grotesque thriller, this book is excellently written, and the suspense is very well built into it, and you feel very much like the main character. But I'm not sure I would read another. Maybe one of his more fantasies type books. My personal favourite genre is fantasy. And horrible things can happen, but I like the dips and flows, and there's good things and running like happiness or love or anything through it, and then there are like tragic crazy things that happen, but I think it was just too consistently negative for too long, like the whole book. Yeah, so I think to sum it up, the book is about an author who has a car crash and gets found by his #1 fan, and she looks after him in her home, but she is not all there, let's put it that way. And the things she does to him, my goodness. So if you like that kind of thing, excellently written, but I can't say that I recommend it because I just felt a bit horrid whilst I was reading it, which I guess it does mean that it was very well written because it invoked that strong of an emotion in me. But yeah, it's not my choice. I read books to like as an escapism, that kind of thing, and I like world building and other things like that, and it was a bit too real. And the other book that I read, what was it called? One moment, I'm going to find out what the book was called. So the book is called A Far Wilder Magic by Alison Saft. Oh, I've got my camera facing myself, that's going to be backwards for you. Yeah, so the front says, a magical secret, a mythical hunt, and a love that could risk everything. I really enjoyed it. It's not my usual fantasy, it's a little bit more lovey and obvious. Like, it's quite simple, but I loved it. I absolutely yammed it up. It was really lovely to read. It felt really good in contrast to the other book. It had really good ups and downs. I was really invested in the characters. So yeah, it's quite a simple one. It hasn't got like a complicated story line or any sometimes with fantasy I think it's quite easy to lose track of all the different winds and turns, and there's a magic in this, but it's a science-based magic, so it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I would recommend this if you want an easy, lovey read that kind of makes you feel good. It's like love against all odds kind of thing. Fairly predictable, but very good. Yeah, I did really enjoy that. That one I actually, interestingly, leads me on to another recommendation. Got that recommendation from watching a non-knitting related podcast. Desi Darling, like DESI, Desi for Desiree. Desi Darling on YouTube. So she's not a knitter, but she makes beautiful content, and actually what I recommend is she's got a couple of videos on romanticizing autumn. Now normally this is something I would say is wishy-washy. I'm not that kind of girl. Oh, I am so bought in. It's just so beautiful the way she shoots. Sorry if you can hear my teams in the background, I'm meant to be working right now. It's like Microsoft Teams, I mean, not just my team is sat over there. But yeah, Desi Darling, her content is beautiful, it's shot beautifully. She has loads of tips and things that you can try for romanticizing autumn, amongst other things. She's very got that kind of dark and light academia, cottagecore kind of feel. She does all kinds of videos, but particularly recommend the romanticizing autumn ones. But and she also has a lot of book recommendations, and that is where I found this. So I recommend checking her out. I think I'll stick to those recommendations for now. Oh, one last one, I'll do a knitting related one. I've recently found Young Folk Knits, the podcast, and I am absolutely loving it. The lady that does it is so adorable. I love her so much. I just like listening to her beautiful accent and her like she's just so funny and endearing, and I just felt really warm when I watch her podcast, so I definitely recommend checking her out too. But yeah, I think that's all my recommendations this week. I've got a lot going on. I've started playing football again. So I don't know if anyone knows, when I was a teenager I used to play a lot of football. I used to religiously watch Bend It Like Beckham the film. Thought that was going to be my life. Not that I was good enough, but I thought it was going to be. And then I had a really bad injury and I couldn't play anymore, and I was devastated, but I've just got back into playing again. I'm really enjoying that. I just wanted to also make some like friends. I miss that like team sport camaraderie. I think, so I'm, God, after my recent birthday, 29 now. As my friends like to remind me, my last year in my 20s. I don't feel old enough. I don't even feel old enough to live alone, even though I have for over 10 years. That aside, that threw me entirely. I'm really good at this. I feel like at every video there's always like, that threw me entirely, because I have this massive tangent and go off and then I have no idea what I was talking about. Breathe, Molly. So I think as you get older, it's quite hard to make new friends. I'm not massively in contact with people that I went to school or uni with. I just didn't really form those bonds, or we grew apart over the years, and I've moved a lot, and a lot of people I knew when I grew up are still in the same area with the same group of friends, and I moved away quite young, and so I kind of lost contact with everyone. So it's really nice to do a team sport, or something where you get the chance to meet other people that are interested in some of the things that you're interested in. I think for the same reason I'm going to try and look for a knitting group, although that's a little bit harder given where I live now. I'm still going to keep an eye out, because I just think it's nice to make those connections. I think otherwise you end up talking to people from work, and I've made some amazing friends at work. But yeah, it's really hard to meet people now, so something like a team sport, which I enjoy doing anyway. It's good exercise, fun, it's a passion of mine from when I was younger, but it's also nice just to be around other amazing women that are just out doing their own thing and varying abilities, the team I'm playing for, which makes me feel a bit better because I'm very rusty. But yeah, that's one really fun thing that I'm doing at the moment. However, having said that, I'm a bit sick, so I'll have to wait until next week before I go back. But yeah, that's it. I think next week's podcast, as I mentioned, will be the making of my birthday sweater. It'll be from the beginning of the process to the end, show you the finished object once it's all blocked and finished, which will hold me accountable to get all that done this week, or middle of next week, so I have time to film. I'll put it on, tell you about any changes I made, anything I would do differently, and probably show you it with a few outfits. So watch next week for that. If you want to know when it comes live, the best thing to do is to subscribe and press the little bell icon down below. That'll let you know when that video is up, and any other future videos that I do, and would also be very beneficial to me. That in mind, please like, comment, subscribe. All of that's really amazing and helps other people see my channel, and I'd really appreciate if you do that. Other than that, have an amazing Sunday, enjoy the rest of your week or weekend, what little of it there is left, and I will see you next week.